Watching Disappearing Acts for the first time all the way through was such an interesting experience for me because anytime I watched it in the past, when I shouldn't have probably been watching it because I was a teenager, it was like I watched the first 20-25 minutes because in my head, I always thought, well, if they're together, why do I need to watch the rest of the movie? This is only 20-25 minutes in. Don't seem like it's going to be nothing good that takes place beyond this part. And lo and behold, I was correct about that. I was right to not have watched all the way through. Was this movie a romance? I wouldn't call it so. Is it actually a romance? Again, Disappearing Acts is listed as a drama. That is correct. Maybe even you could put it as a thriller / horror film if you wanted to. Because this is definitely a nightmare to me. Without giving away too much of the movie, I'm going to jump right in. This is Disappearing Acts, starring Sanaa Lathan and Wesley Snipes. From Wikipedia, Disappearing Acts is a 2000 American made-for-television romantic drama. Like I said, I'd call it more of a horror. The film was directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, and Wesley Snipes actually has a producer credit on the film. The film opens with a classic New York montage. We get to see a good bit of the city as Zora is riding in the moving truck looking out the window. Arriving to her new home, Zora is attempting to move in and is unfortunately met with a little bit of pushback from who we will soon meet is Franklin. Franklin unfortunately tells her that her floors are not ready as he couldn't get enough overtime over the last couple of weeks to complete the job on time. Zora is a bit confused by this because she recently just spoke with Vinny and he said that everything would be ready for move-in today. Her movers on a time crunch tell her that they got to get to, I think, Astoria, if I'm not mistaken. They got to get somewhere in like 15-20 minutes and they don't have time to help her unpack the rest of her stuff, which basically to me sounds like they didn't complete the rest of the job. But Zora asked Franklin if he could help her out and move some of her boxes in. During a brief conversation as they're moving her things up, we learn that Zora is actually a singer and she's named after Zora Neale Hurston.
It's like Zora Neale Hurston. You know who that is?
I was named after her.
What?
Learning that she's a singer, this prompts Franklin to ask her to sing him something, in which she replies,
First of all, I don't know you, and I'm not exactly in the singing mood.
Of course, this gets Franklin to introduce himself.
I'm Franklin. Franklin Swift. You can call me Frankie.
Why ruin such a dignified name by calling yourself Frankie?
You can call me Franklin if you want to.
He then, in a sly way, asks Zora if she's single, or saying like, oh, I guess you're going to get your man to help you with the rest of these things.
The bookshelf and your stereo.
No, nobody's helping me.
Huh.
He responds by saying,
I mean, if I did it, it'd be done like that.
Then leads to them having like a little playful conversation of her saying that she'd have to pay him and him saying,
Women like you know how to take some help from a man.
Women like me.
Yeah, you know. Black, beautiful, independent.
How about tomorrow? I'm home around 6?
6 it is. Straight up and down.
6 then.
All right.
The next day we see Franklin gets a call from his foreman, Vinny, telling him that he doesn't need him for the next couple of weeks, which means he ain't gonna get a paycheck for the next couple of weeks.
Well, Vinny, man, I got bills, man.
Sorry, Frankie, don't always take care of you.
To see Zora teaching a choir class, and we also see Franklin at the bar. He's visited by a friend who we learn has a bit of a gambling problem, which Franklin, on the other hand, seems to be an enabler of because he gives him more money to gamble. After their conversation, Franklin glances over at the clock on the wall and sees that it's nearing 7 o'clock. And then sees Zora at her home, glancing at her watch, and it's now 7:15. After a while of realizing that Franklin isn't going to show, Zora decides to head to get herself some dinner and ends up running into Franklin at the takeout spot. He gives her a whole bunch of excuses to why he couldn't make it. He got hung up, he lost, he didn't know her name, and all these things. And she tells him it's Banks, Zora Banks. And you offered to help me, I didn't ask you. Which of course then makes him like almost feel bad in a way. Unpacking her things, Franklin comes across a picture of Zora's mom, who unfortunately passed away when she was only 6 years old. Also tells Franklin that she's a singer, but she doesn't make a living out of it just yet, so she's still a teacher at IS 70 in Chelsea. Got the hookup with a producer from a friend, so she moved to Brooklyn to help save up money for her demo. She tells him about the piano that she wants to put in her smaller room with only $200 more left. He hands Franklin a beer, and we learn here that Zora actually doesn't drink herself.
I don't drink. I heard brothers like Heineken.
True?
Since it seems like Franklin is asking her a lot of questions, Zora asks him what's his dream outside of what he's doing right now. He tells her that he would like to renovate the vacant brownstones around the city and to grow it into a full rehabbing brownstones business. The phone rings, interrupting their conversation. It's her dad, and she politely escorts Franklin out. The next scene, we see Zora meet up with her two friends, Portia, played by the lovely Regina Hall, and Claudette, played by Lisa Arundel. They go back and forth about dating men with money, dating men with less than men with money.
The guy has to be a millionaire for me to give him the time of day.
Ain't nothing wrong with wanting a man who can take care of me.
But buying you jewelry and paying your rent isn't the only way a man can take care of you.
All I know is I did my time with those suit and tie brothers who think because they pull out their platinum cards, they don't have to do much else.
I love any type of movie with like a girl, a strong girlhood friendship type of like representation, you know what I'm trying to say. She comes home to find Franklin waiting near her steps. Tension between them we see is building as they're, talking all slow, standing real close together. He basically asks if he can come up. And
Can I come in?
Yes.
in the long run, she gives in and they go into her home. They're laying in bed together and he asks her to sing for him, in which she again declined. Franklin here also admits that he feels like he hit the lottery in meeting Zora, so he feels like he just cannot break the connection that they have. He is honest though and tells Zora that he's basically broke. She says that he can't hug and kiss a bank account. Girl, you can't hug and kiss these bills neither, girl. We see a little brief montage of them dating and spending time together. I will say this montage showed me that like he wasn't a courting man. Getting back up with his gambling friend, Franklin expresses how Zora truly listens to him, and she's not like other women he's dated.
He listens.
She listens. Yeah. Y'all talk.
She's smart too.
Yeah, that's good, man. I say, look, I'm glad you felt.
Friend finally pays him back all the money that he owed him plus interest, and Franklin takes some of the money to pay off Zora's layaway on her piano. After gifting her the piano, she finally blesses him with a little sample of her voice. The reason I say her voice is because it's not Sanaa Lathan's voice, even though when I look online, I can't find any proof that it's not. But like, there's no other scenario that I've ever seen Sanaa Lathan singing in, and it just like it doesn't even look like we already know she's not singing in the movie, but like the voice layover is pretty bad, like so it just looks like real bad.
My sincerity, do you know that I care?
I say it's not her. Like, it could be somebody's voice, but it's not her voice. Who knows? If you know, put it in the comments. We finally see Zora meeting up with her producer. First, he tells her that it will be $2,000 to cut her a 6-song demo. But after a little haggling, he lowers it down to $500, which was a good deal if you ask me. And see Zora and Franklin talking about her good news, and Franklin kind of rains on her parade by telling her that he hasn't been honest and upfront, which is like the first example of like him being rude and disrespectful, which honestly wasn't the first. No. He admits that although she thinks he went to college, he actually dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. Then drops an even bigger bomb on her that he has a whole secret family.
Zed has more. I got 2 sons. One's 12 and the other one's 10.
2 boys. Your kids need you, sir. What are you doing? And tries to play the victim that he didn't lie. Divorce is expensive and they are in the process. He considers himself divorced. So you're not. He pretty much tries to gaslight her and say, oh, so degrees and dollars mean more to you than what we got. Sir, that's not the point. Next, we see Zora meeting up with Franklin, I guess like maybe the next day. And she's telling him that like nobody's perfect. He admits that she probably wouldn't have given him a real chance if he would have been upfront and honest, which is what he should have been. And he says, well, I'm either good enough or I'm not. And she basically tells him she's in love.
I mean, maybe that's what you need. One of them brothers out there with the suit and the tie, and the condo and all of that.
It's not the man I fell in love with.
What she's in love with, I don't know. Then she tells him that she's always wanted somebody to grow with. My personal opinions on growing with someone, it's been misconstrued these days. That's all I'll say. In this case, it's just like, how you gonna grow with somebody that's like just not even, doesn't have a plan, doesn't have like a good foundation for themselves. How are you gonna grow with this? Anywho, she makes him promise to get his divorce as soon as possible, which he complies with. He'd also like to meet his sons. He loves that. And pretty much dangles some keys in his face, implying, move in with me. And this, I feel like, takes a hit to his ego. But then, of course, he's even more honest. He couldn't afford even going 50-50 with her on this rent. So maybe this ain't the best idea. And she's like, no, don't worry about it. I got it.
I just want to be able to carry my own weight.
Don't worry. I just want you with me.
Girl, what? I was thinking to myself, well, where is he staying at right now that he can't afford even going half the rent on her place? Like, yeah, maybe, it's variable. Maybe her place is nicer than his, but like, what's going on? After all of that, she finally gets a I love you too from this man.
I love you too.
He meets his sons, Marcus and Tyree. We have another montage of them just enjoying each other's company in her home, around her home, outside her home, on her dime. Montage is cut short with Zora having a seizure in the middle of the night. The next morning after recovering, she's telling Franklin that she has epilepsy, which is why she doesn't drink. And Franklin is a little just like, well, how come you didn't tell me? Because how am I supposed to take care of you? And she is a little bit repulsed by this answer because she doesn't want it to be seen as having to be taken care of. Taken care of? Yeah, taken care of. Excuse me. They compromise. He tells her there's nothing wrong with being taken care of. She says, he's her partner. It's, nothing wrong or nothing to be embarrassed by. Is trauma from other men in her life that weren't able to handle it. Next day working, Vinny then tells Franklin that he unfortunately has to cut his hours again. This time, Franklin just ain't having it, and he decides that he can do better than this. He can find better elsewhere. Money's calling, and he has just got to answer the phone.
With all due respect, Vinny, I need something steady, man. You can understand that, right?
What can I tell you, Frankie? Family is family.
He popped off a little too soon, and that's a lesson he gonna learn later.
Next day to be a fucking cold-ass day until the next time I work for you, man.
Oh, you move into one of my brownstones, all of a sudden you're too good for me. What are you gonna do? You gonna join the union? They ain't too fond of the brothers, you know what I'm saying?
Which is like, just weird, because it's like not you terrorizing the man. You was already cutting his hours. How you gonna be upset that he upset? Her and Franklin have dinner that night with her friend Claudette and her husband. And Franklin, of course, is just not in the best mood because, well, he just lost his job. And he's definitely not the type of person who could compartmentalize. So he's just not in the headspace to be at a dinner party, even if it is just like, a one-on-one scene. And he's just a little tense at dinner.
Franklin, tell me you're into jazz. Joshua Redman, and these cats can hang with any of these hip-hop guys.
Some of it I like, and some of it I don't. The kind of shit they play in those clubs, they don't really appeal to regular black folks. This is a dog and pony show for rich white folks, if you ask me. I'm strong. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Argue as they're walking home, and he kind of basically tells her that he felt left out and less than her and everybody else at the table. She has to stroke his ego and apologize for making him feel bad. And he basically just continues playing the victim. She tells him, forget Vinny. I'll just keep paying all the bills. You just don't even worry about it.
Listen, I'll cover us for a while.
Which again was insane.
For another job, why don't you use the time to go back to school? Fuck Vinny.
Vinny?
Yes. 10 times smarter than Vinny. And in a minute, you're gonna be renovating all these brownstones, not him.
That's peace. That's real peace, right?
Zora is still working on her demo. It's going well. Her producer tells her that her artist signed with Sony, and he's going to be sneaking her in on some sessions so they could, use all their really good equipment. Then sees Zora meeting Franklin's family, his mother, his father, and his sister. So nervous at the meeting, they end up even taking a drink from Franklin's father, played by the late, great John Amos, by the way. Rest in peace. His dad asks him where he's working at, and he delivers the news that he's not working at all, but he does have a plan of starting his own business. And we see right away his mom and his sister are not too supportive of that idea. His father isn't not supportive, but he does recommend him a job connection that he has. After this meeting, we see a very semi-stressed. She's trying to balance out the bills, and then we see her at school. She's in pain, and then we cut to the park. And she's with Claudette and Portia. They are talking about the fact that she is pregnant. Portia is leaning more to the side of logic and telling her, man, girl, just think about, like, we really as viewers need to read in between the lines of just like, you don't really know this man that well, you just met him, girl, because we can't really tell how long they've been together, you know, based on the seasons or anything, but like it's definitely seemed like everything in this movie happened within a year or two. Like the whole pregnancy and meeting him, moving in had to be a year. A year and a half max, like including the whole 9 months, it would be a year and a half max. I mean, Claudette is leaning more to the side of emotion and telling her, you know, maybe this was meant to be, maybe he's your one true love, all these things that could be true, but with a man with no job, I don't know if it is. Next thing we see Zora cooking dinner and Franklin trying to, you know, get some grown things going, and she's not interested. She tells him that she has a yeast infection and she can't. Just to go to the doctor with her, but she's like, it's not that serious, I'm good. And he's like, all right, I'll be back, I'm going to get a drink. She sits at the table waiting on him, and she's like, where have you been? He finally comes back 4 hours later, drunk as a skunk. Tells her he pretty much flips the script, and he's upset with her. How could you not tell me? I know your cycle better than you do. A lot of crazy things if you ask me, but you didn't ask. He then does the funniest thing in this whole movie, which I shouldn't have laughed maybe, but I did. I cracked up the first time I seen this. Zora, please don't kill our baby. Anywho, he tells her that he will get his divorce finalized and work 3 jobs just to support her and this baby. Lies were told. Lies were told. We should have had a Franklin lie counter. Like I said, he burned that bridge way too quickly, and Franklin is now back in Vinny's face, trying to, you know, not asking for a job, but dry asking for a job, because he, of course, his pride and ego is crushed, and he doesn't want to he doesn't want to outright ask for his job again, but he don't have no choice, honestly. Her producer Rich expresses his disappointment in her current situation and that this is going to mess up their recording time, which she explains to him that, like, this is not going to mess up anything. I will work hard. I'm not going to miss any sessions. I won't be late. All of this stuff. And he basically says, late one time, mess up one time, we done. Home to a candlelit house. Franklin is excited about his new union job. Completely is oblivious to the fact that she's tired. He's still trying to get grown folk activity going, which is again rude. I'm starting to think honestly he was a narcissist, but anyway, that word is so overused. But anyway, actually if you think about it, low key, because like he disposed of his first family, nothing was his fault. We'll get there. As he is working his new union job, he does come across those problems that Vinny did shadily mention that he probably would come across, which is some of his coworkers are outwardly racist. His new foreman pulls him to the side and tells him, you know, just hang in there. I've got a new assignment coming up for you soon. Keep working this project and you'll be on to the next. You know, hang in there. But if you cause a problem, you gotta go. As they're randomly walking one day and Zora's trying to work on some new music, he interrupts by grabbing on her and telling that he's been holding out on him. She don't even want to hear none of that. She tells him that she's going out with Portia and Claudette afterwards to celebrate her demo release. True narcissist fashion, I hate to say it, but the truth is the truth. He says, well, what if I wanted to take you out? And she says, well, you didn't ask me. And he said, oh my gosh, well, what's next? Is this Hollywood? And she asked, like, can I just focus and get this song done and just, you know, have fun with my friends? No, she cannot. He throws a temper tantrum instead.
Focus your heart out. Priorities, no, right? Got your girl, you got your demo, then somewhere down the line you got me.
Why are you doing this now?
We ain't even
have a little bit of a cut between her demo release party, which Franklin is not at, only Portia and Claudette, and she's having a great time, but Franklin has his eyes on a new woman. He's drinking his beer and hanging out with an old friend. Makes it into her demo party basically at the very end, after basically cheating on her because he did make out with that other woman. Acts like he's just, you know, nothing happened. Happy to support my woman. Afterwards, we see Franklin is working, and he unfortunately falls off the ladder after coming back from lunch and having a couple of beers. So when they test him, he fails, and he gets fired. He received the call that he got fired right next to Zora. He begins to blame it on the fact that, like, you know, This is just messed up. So what? The fact that they just don't want to give him his worker comp. It's like, okay, let's not panic. What about your divorce savings?
I got $122. You can take what you want.
$122.
Rent, I got 2 kids, I got Pam.
We see Franklin with his sons and his ex-wife, Pam. He tells her that unfortunately he doesn't have any money for her anyway. He doesn't have any money for her either. And she's upset as well. But Pam is a little bit more used to it. She's like, I can't keep doing this all on my own. Even though she will continue to do it all on her own, basically. He even says something so funny in this scene that, like, it's always about money with you. She's taking care of your 2 kids. Of course it is. What do you mean? Y'all are not in a relationship. Anywho, her sons somehow found out that Zora was pregnant, and so they told their mom, and she says, well, does Zora even know that you can't take care of the ones that you got now? Next, we see Zora celebrating her 30th birthday with Portia and Claudette, which to me was just like crazy. That like, oh my gosh, this man came in and ruined your 30s at the start of your 30s. Not that a child isn't a blessing, but it's just like Franklin as the father to the child was not a blessing. Portia asks where's Franklin taking her to celebrate tonight, and she says to see Shaka Khan. He says, when is your ring coming? Claudette said, let's not worry about that. That's nobody's business. He must have a good reason for not asking you. What would be the good reason, girl? They both reassure her that her baby's got 2 aunties waiting to spoil them. Zora and Franklin are walking into the theater to see Shaka Khan. They run into someone selling tickets. He's offering 7th row seats where Franklin has balcony seats. So Zora is just like, you know, it's my birthday. Let me splurge. Let me get these 7th row tickets. He again throws another temper tantrum on her birthday. I tell you, man, a man who ruins your birthday hates you. Hates you. He does.
That's good enough for you, is it? Huh? Why you gotta go shit on my tickets?
One night in fucking months. My birthday, I'll
Fuck you!
well, fuck you too.
After ruining her birthday, she comes home from the concert and she is expressing her emotions to Franklin. It's scary. She doesn't know what's going to happen once the baby is born. And they basically just act like nothing happened and hug each other, say that they love each other, and they're moving forward, basically. Okay. Switch to see baby Jeremiah being born. Has a pep talk from Zora's father that like, hey, you got 3 little ones now, 3 mouths to feed. Get your stuff together. Get a job and get on your feet. At school, while she's teaching, Zora gets a call from Jeremiah's daycare that he was never picked up today. And she's confused because Franklin doesn't have a job. Why can't he pick up his son? Why didn't he pick up his son? She rushes home to pick him up, probably thinking that something was wrong with Franklin. But anywho, gets home to see him just sitting on the couch, not doing a thing, dishes in the sink, and he's claiming it was just too cold of a day to look for a job. Ain't nobody hiring right now anyway. Regarding her feelings and the fact that like she just got home from her job with her child that she picked up from school, basically says that he needs to step out for a second and clear his head. He's like, well, what about you getting a job with the place where your dad recommended? And he just acts like it was the biggest insult in the world that he get a job. He meets with her producer, begging him to just bear with her a little while longer. He says he's done. She's got no new tracks, no money. He's through. Fortunately, on top of being done with her, he's also holding her tracks hostage until she gets the rest of his money, since the songs were recorded on his beats. Zora walks home slowly, and as she starts to approach her building, she hears nothing but racket from Franklin, and she decides to keep walking. The saddest part of the film, because it's just like, if you can't get peace at your own home, where can you get it from? Franklin asks to talk, and instead Zora answers the phone and starts a whole conversation with Portia. This fool literally pulls the phone wire out of the wall as she's on the phone with Portia. He claims that he needs her to be more supportive. And she's like, be more supportive? I've been carrying this whole relationship. Again, always his go-to move is try to get some grown folk activity going. He tries to do that in the middle of the night. She's not interested. Weird scene to me because it was like borderline consensual, borderline not. She said no a few times, and it just took one too many times for him to stop the initiation. But just, I guess, trigger warning there if you are going to go watch the film. After that, she gets up abruptly and it's just like, you know what, I'm done. Get your stuff and get out of here. Me and Jeremiah are going to go stay somewhere else, but I want you and your things gone by tomorrow when we come back. Terrible idea. Why would you leave someone that you were basically kicking out of your home, in your home alone, for 24 hours? So, of course, his ego is crushed. He gets drunk and he trashes her place. Zora, baby Jeremiah, and Portia all come back the next day and find the place completely wrecked. After the place has been all cleaned up, we are now cutting to New Year's Eve. We're watching the ball. Well, she's watching the ball drop. She's peeking in at baby Jeremiah. He's sleeping. Comes in. She says, "Happy New Year." We get a brief montage of Franklin studying for his GED, Laura working and taking care of her baby. Portia and Claudette are having a drink, and Zora's song actually comes on over the radio or on the speakers. And Portia could not contain herself and tells the whole restaurant that this is her friend's song, and everyone is excited about it. So, relax, welcome the attention, and, maybe get a number or two. But unfortunately, Zora is just not in the headspace for dating, and I applaud her because her child is under 1. Why should she be in the headspace for dating when she just met a crazy person? Like, she's good right now. Let her heal. Afterwards, we see Zora at home, knocks on Zora's door. Says that if it wasn't for the checks that come every month, I would have thought you were dead, which to me was surprising. I said, this man is actually paying his child support. Okay. You was a bum for a couple of months, but you got your life together. Okay, I'm proud of you. So tells him that he definitely should have called first. The number is still the same. He hasn't heard from him in a year, and you just decide to pop up like this at my door? Absolutely not. Of course, we bypass all of that. Zora just be talking. Says he's getting his contractor's license the next day, and he got his GED, and tomorrow he's actually going to be getting his contractor's license. She tells him that she did stop working on her album and mostly just writes for others now, which a lot of her songs have ended up on the radio, so it's not like she's just writing music, she's a writer. Claims that he just couldn't come back to her until he got his life right, but now that he's back, he wants pretty much another chance. He at least does apologize, to which for whatever reason Zora apologizes too, for what I don't understand. He says he should go and that the love was always real and still is. As he's leaving, descending down the stairs, she stops him and tells him that,
I never beat you at Scrabble.
The last word that this man even leaves us with in the film is estrus. And all I can say is, this fool got a breeding kink.
Estrus?
Yeah.
What kind of word is that?
Look it up.
And that's the info. So much for watching this film with me. Really enjoy movies and films, cinema, whatever you want to call it. TV shows as well. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I am restricted a bit to genre, but I'm trying to expand my palette these days. I love movies, so I will be doing more of these like recap analysis type. I have a couple of ideas, something that you enjoyed and you like these type of videos, please do me a favor and subscribe. Recaps won't be the only thing that I'll do on this channel, but will be something that I would like to start out with. So I do have a couple of other show recap analysis type videos coming. Comment down below to your thoughts on this film. I also didn't even give you guys my thoughts. I did throughout this film, that's for sure. Now you can probably tell I did not like Franklin's character, not one bit. This type of man does not need to be dating. You need to be somewhere getting your life together. The whole speech that you said at the end should have came before you impregnated someone. Like, are you crazy? That's all I think. There's nothing wrong with having children. There's nothing wrong with being in a relationship. You're grown. But like, let's also be a grown man about your business. Like, stuff in order. So yeah, no, didn't like that. And obviously accountability. My girl Zora, what are we doing? There's nothing wrong with dating a man with children. I won't do it, but you do it. At least let them be divorced. We can at least start there at the bare minimum. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout. It's a joke that, I never did beat, and Mace did beat you in Scrabble. Just insert the scene, god darn it. Selling balcony seats, and Zora decides to splurge and get the tickets since Franklin has 7th row seats. Oh no. as Zora and Franklin are watching, because I don't want to like ruin the movie if you're gonna watch it. How many times am I gonna say that? I don't know. Drink some water every time I say I'm gonna ruin the movie. Through the city. Okay, let me not start off like that.